Jason thought he had a perfect marriage, a loving wife, shared dreams, and a future together. But when subtle changes and late nights turn into undeniable proof of betrayal, his world shatters. This raw, candid Reddit-style confession unravels the painful discovery of infidelity, manipulative lies, and emotional gaslighting. From the shocking confrontation to the agonizing decision to walk away, Jason shares his emotional roller coaster of heartbreak, anger, and eventual healing. A brutally honest look at what happens when trust is broken and how one man fights to reclaim his life and identity after the woman he loved becomes a stranger. Hey, Reddit. I never thought I'd be the guy posting here, but I'm sitting in an empty apartment right now, heart in pieces, and I need to get this out. Maybe someone's been through this. Maybe someone has answers. I sure don't. So, a little background. My 36M wife Sophie, 34F, and I have been together for almost 9 years, married for 6. We met through friends at a housewarming party. She was the kind of woman who walked into a room and made people turn their heads, not just because she's beautiful, but because she had that commanding, confident energy. She always knew what she wanted, and for years, I thought that included me. We've had a solid marriage, or so I thought. We did all the right things, traveled together, supported each other through career changes, talked about buying a house and kids. Our friends called us the power couple. Looking back, maybe that was the first red flag. I was too busy feeling lucky to notice that she was always in control, and I was always adjusting. About 4 months ago, things started to feel off. I couldn't put my finger on it at first. Sophie started working late more often. She brushed it off as crunch time on a project at her firm. She's in PR, and sometimes things do get hectic, but this felt different. Her phone started becoming a second limb. Always face down. Always on silent. When I jokingly asked if she was hiding a second husband, she laughed a little too hard and said, "Trust issues, babe." That's not sexy. It felt like she was pulling away, emotionally, physically. We weren't having sex as much, and when we did, it felt mechanical. Like she was somewhere else in her head. I chalked it up to stress. I asked if she wanted a weekend getaway, something to reconnect. She said, "Not now, I'm slammed. Can you not make everything about you?" That one stung. I didn't say anything, just nodded and told myself not to be needy. But something deep inside me had already started unraveling. I wasn't ready for the truth. Not even close. So, things kept getting weirder after that. She started guarding her phone like it was a national secret. Bathroom. Phone in hand. Shower. Phone on the counter. Screen locked. Notifications off. And God help me if I even glanced at it, she'd snatch it like I was trying to break into a safe. She changed her phone password too. When I casually asked about it, she got defensive. "Why do you care? Don't you trust me?" She said with a sharpness in her tone that made me feel like I was the one doing something wrong. I backed off again. I told myself I was being paranoid. But that gut feeling, the one we always ignore when we're scared to face the truth, it was screaming at me now. One night, maybe 2 weeks after our last talk, I noticed something odd. She said she was working late again and wouldn't be home until 9:30. Fine. I decided to surprise her and drop off dinner at her office, her favorite Thai place. Just trying to be a good husband, you know. I got there around 8. Office lights were off. The parking lot was mostly empty. I waited. 10 minutes. Then 15. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I sat there in the car, food getting cold in the passenger seat, watching the building like some sad rom-com character. At 9:23, I finally drove home. She walked in at 9:41, hair a little messier than usual, perfume stronger. Said, "God, tonight was a nightmare. You wouldn't believe the chaos." I asked, "Still at the office?" She nodded, tossed her keys in a bowl, kissed me on the cheek, and walked to the bathroom. She never asked about dinner. Never noticed the bag on the kitchen counter. That was the moment. Not confirmation yet, but I knew. I absolutely knew something was going on. And I was about to find out exactly what. A few days later, I did something I'm not proud of. I snooped. It was a Saturday morning. Sophie was in the shower, and I noticed her work phone. Yes, she had 2 phones now, one just for clients, was left on the nightstand. I hesitated. I really did. But the lies, the late nights, the disconnection, it was eating me alive. And I had to know. The screen lit up with a message. I didn't even unlock it. I didn't have to. It read, "Last night was insane. Still thinking about you. When can we meet again?" Face blowing a kiss. No name. Just a number. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I stood there, heart pounding, phone in hand, steam filling the bathroom. I didn't even hear her come out of the shower. She walked into the room in a towel, saw me holding her phone, and froze. Her eyes went wide, then narrowed. "What the F asterisk CK are you doing?" she snapped. I didn't even flinch. I held up the phone and said, "You want to explain this?" She snatched it out of my hand and said, "You're unbelievable." Invading my privacy now? Wow. No denial. No explanation. Just instant offense. I asked again, quieter this time, "Who is he?" She rolled her eyes. "It's a client, Jason. We were out late discussing a pitch. It was just a joke." I repeated the text back to her, word for word. She paused, then said, "Okay, so maybe it's a little flirty. But it's not what you think. I didn't sleep with him." God, you're so insecure. Insecure. That's what she hit me with. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stared at her, towel wrapped around her like she still had something to protect. That was the moment she started gaslighting me. And I started losing grip on what was real. After that confrontation, things didn't get better. They got worse, but in that subtle, manipulative way where she made me feel like the crazy one. She didn't apologize. Not once. Instead, she doubled down. Told me I was being controlling. That I was jealous because she had male colleagues who actually appreciated her. She said, "You know how clients can be. Some of them flirt. That doesn't mean I reciprocate." She even managed to twist it into a me problem. "You clearly don't trust me." And honestly, that's more damaging than a stupid text. That line almost broke me. She was calm, calculated, and cold, like she had rehearsed it. I started questioning everything. Was I overreacting? Was it really nothing? I mean, there was no proof beyond that one message. I didn't see them together. Maybe it was a flirty client. But then things kept piling up. She started locking the guest room door when she took calls in there. She'd shower at weird times, like right after coming home from work meetings. I saw a hotel charge on our credit card statement. When I asked, she said, "Oh, that? It was a last-minute industry mixer downtown. I didn't want to drive back after drinking." Convenient, huh? Always some clever little story. Polished. Ready. And I wanted to believe her so badly. But believing her meant betraying myself. Because deep down, I already knew. My wife, the woman I built a life with, was cheating on me. I just didn't have the proof to make it real yet. But that proof was coming. And when it did, everything unraveled in an instant. The breaking point came 2 weeks later, on a random Wednesday. Funny how the biggest moments of your life never wait for the perfect timing. Sophie told me she had a team-building retreat overnight with her office, supposedly at some fancy lodge an hour out of town. She even showed me a fake itinerary. I say fake now because I know what I saw later, but back then, I was still trying to play the supportive husband. I told her, "Have fun, babe," and kissed her goodbye. But something didn't sit right. She left in such a rush, didn't take her laptop, didn't pack anything that looked remotely like business casual. Just a duffel bag and her phone. So yeah, I cracked. I called her office around 11 a.m., pretending to be from her gym. Her coworker, who didn't know me, casually mentioned that Sophie was out sick. "She called in this morning," she said. I didn't even hang up. I just dropped the phone and stared at the floor. She lied. Again. Boldly. Easily. I sat there for an hour, mind racing. Then I made the decision I thought I'd never make. I tracked her phone. Yeah, I know. It sounds obsessive, but we share a family plan, and the Find My app was still enabled. She had no idea. And guess what? She wasn't an hour away at some resort. She was 10 miles across town at a boutique hotel. One of those sleek, upscale ones you book for privacy, not convenience. I felt like someone had poured boiling water down my spine. I grabbed my keys, got in the car, and drove. I still wasn't prepared for what I was about to see. The hotel was nicer than I expected. Elegant lobby, ambient lighting, jazz music playing softly in the background. You don't book a place like that for work or to be alone. You book it when you want to disappear. I didn't have a plan. I was running on adrenaline and heartbreak. I walked straight to the front desk and said, "Hey, I'm here to meet my wife, Sophie Harris. She checked in this morning, I think." I forgot the room number. The guy at the counter looked at me suspiciously, then tapped on his keyboard. "I'm sorry, sir, but I can't give out guest information." Fair. Totally reasonable. But I must have looked completely unhinged, because as I turned away, I caught a glimpse of the key log on the screen. Room 418. I took the elevator up without thinking. My heart was pounding, so hard it hurt. I walked down the hall, each step heavier than the last. When I got to the door, I could hear laughter, hers, light and flirtatious. I hadn't heard her laugh like that in months. I froze. Then I knocked. There was a pause. Then footsteps. When the door opened, time slowed down. She was wearing lingerie, something I hadn't seen her wear for me in over a year. Behind her, sitting on the bed in nothing but boxers, was some guy in his early 40s. Fit, smug tan. He didn't even flinch. Just looked at me and smirked like he knew exactly who I was. Sophie's face went pale, then red. "Jason," she gasped, pulling the robe shut. "What are you?" I didn't let her finish. I just looked at her and said, "So this is the client?" Her mouth opened, then closed. And just like that, the mask fell off completely. She didn't apologize. She didn't cry. She just sighed and muttered, "You weren't supposed to see this." Like I was the one who ruined something. Like I had violated her trust. I turned and walked away without saying another word. I didn't even hear her call after me. I don't even remember getting to the car. I must have walked through the lobby like a zombie. I think the guy at the front desk said something. I couldn't hear it over the blood rushing in my ears. I got in, shut the door, and just sat there staring at the steering wheel. My hands were shaking. My face felt hot. My chest. It was like there was a vice clamping down on it. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there with that image burned into my skull, her half-dressed, that guy lounging on the bed like it was his house. Then her face. No guilt. Just annoyance. Like I'd caught her skipping work or something. Like I was the inconvenience in this equation. I finally drove off after sitting in that parking lot for half an hour. I didn't go home. I drove around aimlessly for hours, past places we used to go, restaurants we used to love, the park where I proposed to her. I stopped at one point at a gas station and dry heave in the bathroom. Couldn't eat. Couldn't think straight. Just a shock. Numbness. And then came the questions. How long has this been going on? Was this the first guy? Why didn't I see it sooner? Did she ever really love me? Or was I just the guy who paid the bills while she played pretend? The worst part? I still loved her. That realization gutted me more than the betrayal itself. Even after all the lies, the manipulation, the gaslighting, some part of me still held on to the version of her I married. But that version was dead now. Or maybe she never existed at all. I finally came home around midnight. The house was dark, quiet still. It felt empty, even though everything was still there. Her clothes, her shoes by the door, her half-used bottle of perfume on the dresser. I stood in the doorway of our bedroom, just staring at the bed. Our bed. All I could see was him. I slept on the couch. Or tried to. She came home the next morning around 8 a.m. No warning. Just walked in like she had a dentist appointment, not a husband she just emotionally gutted. I didn't say anything at first. She walked into the living room, still in her wrinkled dress from the day before, hair pulled back like she hadn't even bothered to freshen up. She looked irritated, like I owed her something. Then she said it. "Well, since you obviously know now, can we just talk about it like adults?" That was her opener. No apology. No, I messed up. No shame. I laughed. I actually laughed. A short, bitter, ugly sound. "You want to talk?" After months of lying, gaslighting, sneaking around, this is your idea of a conversation? She crossed her arms and leaned against the counter like this was just a minor disagreement between spouses. "It wasn't serious," she said. "It's not like I love him." "Oh, so that makes it better." "It was physical. I needed something I wasn't getting from you." That hit me like a truck. I didn't even respond right away. I just stared at her, waiting for her to flinch, to realize what she was saying. But she didn't. She went on casually, telling me how she felt unseen and unappreciated, and how the affair made her feel alive again. Then, cherry on top, she added, maybe this is a wake-up call for both of us. A wake-up call. I think that was the exact moment any love I had left for her died. After she dropped that line, a wake-up call for both of us, I just sat there in stunned silence. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just asked one question. How long? She rolled her eyes. Does it matter? Yes, I said. It matters to me. She sighed, like I was inconveniencing her again. Then said flatly, 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lies, sneaking around, pretending, sleeping next to me every night like nothing was happening. Planning holidays. Smiling for pictures. Saying I love you with someone else's sweat still on her. I felt physically sick. I asked her if it was just that one guy. She hesitated, then said there were others. Brief. Nothing serious. She said it like she was telling me what she ate for lunch. No emotion. No guilt. Just data. Then she turned the tables again. If I'm being honest, she said, we've been broken for a long time. You just didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to hurt you, but I also couldn't keep living like I was already dead inside. Those words hit harder than the cheating. Because she was trying to justify it, trying to rationalize everything she did as a reaction to me not being enough. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and told her I needed to leave. Her response, take your time. I'll be here when you're ready to talk like an adult. Like I was the child. Like I had blown things out of proportion. I drove to my brother's place and crashed there. Told him everything. He offered to help me find a lawyer that night. He said, she's already emotionally gone. Don't give her the chance to screw you, legally too. And he was right. This wasn't just betrayal. It was war. And she had been playing it for months without me knowing. The next few days were a haze. I barely slept. When I did, nightmares dragged me back to that hotel room. My mind replayed every lie, every gaslight conversation, every fake smile she gave me. I kept wondering how I missed all the signs, how I could have been so blind. I stopped answering her texts and calls. She bombarded me with messages, some apologetic, many entitled, and a few downright nasty. One text read, you're overreacting. Maybe you should look at your own flaws instead of playing the victim. That crushed me. She was blaming me for her cheating. I tried talking to friends and family. Most were supportive, but some had the typical, maybe you didn't make her happy enough crap. That only made me angrier. I felt everything. Anger, sadness, betrayal, confusion. It was like a roller coaster I didn't want to be on, but I couldn't get off. And the worst part, I missed her. I missed us. The good times. The plans. The promises. But deep down, I knew I was holding on to a lie. I was grieving the marriage I thought I had, and the woman I thought I married.
After a week of sleepless nights and a million what-ifs, I realized I had to decide. Fight for this marriage or walk away. I sat down with a counselor my brother recommended. Talking helped, more than I expected. I unloaded everything, the lies, the cheating, the manipulation. The counselor didn't sugarcoat it, but helped me see one thing clearly. This isn't just about forgiveness or betrayal. It's about respect, trust. And if those are gone, what's left? I talked to Sophie too. At first, she was defensive, then passive-aggressive. But finally, for the first time, she admitted she was unhappy and that she hadn't loved me for months. That hit like a knife. But I asked myself, do I want to spend years chasing someone who already gave up? No. So I made the hardest choice, separation. We agreed to take some time apart, figure things out legally and emotionally. It wasn't clean or easy. There were fights, accusations, and a lot of crying on both sides. But I knew I needed to reclaim myself before trying to salvage anything.
So after deciding on separation, I thought the worst was behind me. Boy, was I wrong. Right after I moved out, Sophie dropped a bombshell. She was pregnant. She told me with this smug look, like it was some power play. I'm having his baby, she said. Not yours. I was floored, speechless. I asked if she was sure. She said yes. Of course, I offered to take a paternity test, but she refused. Why don't you just accept it and move on? She snapped. That's when it hit me how messed up this entire situation was. I was dealing not only with betrayal, but with someone who didn't care about us, only about control. I refused to be the fool in this twisted game. So the next few weeks were filled with lawyers, medical tests, and endless drama. I found out later the whole pregnancy claim was a lie. Yep, she was manipulating me again. After that pregnancy bombshell turned out to be a lie, I realized Sophie was on a completely different level of manipulation. She started telling mutual friends wild stories about me, painting me as the controlling, paranoid husband who pushed her away. She posted vague, cryptic things on social media about betrayal and resilience, clearly fishing for attention. When I confronted her, she twisted every word. I'm just tired of your accusations, she said. Maybe if you weren't such a jerk, I wouldn't have to defend myself. She lied about seeing a therapist, about cutting ties with the other guy, about wanting to work on us. It was all smoke and mirrors. I kept asking myself, how did the woman I love turn into this? When did she become someone who thrives on chaos and destruction? The hardest part wasn't the cheating. It was watching someone you trusted so completely turn into a stranger who can't stop hurting you. After months of this nightmare, I finally started to put myself back together. I focused on my work, reconnected with friends I'd neglected, and spent a lot of time alone, just sorting through the mess in my head. Therapy helped more than I ever imagined. I learned that her actions said more about her than about me. I started setting boundaries. No more answering her texts at 2 a.m., no more just one more chant conversations. I accepted that some people aren't capable of being who you want them to be, no matter how much you love them. It's been rough. Some days are still hard. But I'm learning to trust myself again. I'm not the broken, naive husband anymore. I'm someone who survived, and that's worth something. Looking back, I never imagined my life would turn out like this. I thought we had something real, something lasting. But sometimes love isn't enough. I learned that. A trust is everything. Once it's gone, rebuilding is a mountain you might never climb. Listen to your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore the signs. Don't lose yourself trying to fix someone else. You deserve honesty, respect, and kindness. A manipulation and lies are red flags, not challenges to overcome. Don't accept less than you deserve. A healing takes time. Be patient with yourself. I don't know what the future holds for me. Maybe I'll find love again someday. Maybe I won't. But for now, I'm choosing me. To anyone out there feeling lost, betrayed, or broken, you're not alone. And you will get through this. Thanks for reading. If you've been through something similar or have advice, I'm all ears.